Thousands watching, Trump chose quite possibly the worst and strangest place ever to make an announcement about autism. Watch.
And tomorrow we're going to have one of the biggest announcement, really medically, I think, in the history of our country. We're going to be doing it with Bobby and Oz and all of the professionals. I think you're going to find it to be amazing. I think we found an answer to autism. How about that? Autism. Tomorrow we're going to be talking in the Oval Office in the White House.
So the announcement he's talking about doing with Bobby, RFK Jr., HHS secretary who swims, well, in sewage is what he did. And then there was the incident with the bear, the babysitter, this guy who's anti-vax and pretending that I'm not going to change anything, who's changed everything. And Dr. Oz, fresh off of his TV show and something about lying about apple juice, they're going to stand together. Yeah, he said there was arsenic or something. And there may be slight traces, but there was a scare tactic. Look it up, folks, if you don't remember. The expected announcement, the Trump administration is expected to announce that Tylenol use during pregnancy could contribute to the development of autism in children. That's according to Politico, Washington Post. President and his advisors are also expected to discuss a potential treatment for autism. The drug glucoverin, sure I'm not pronouncing it correctly. The news organization reported this. The administration will discuss how autism happens so we won't let it happen anymore, and how to get at least somewhat better when you have it, Trump said. That got cheers. Kenvue, the company that owns Tylenol, said in a statement that, quote, "We believe independent, sound science clearly shows that taking acetaminophen does not cause autism. We strongly disagree with any suggestion otherwise." Yeah, they'll get the hammer in 3, 2. In an April report, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found that in 2022, 1 in 31 children were diagnosed with autism by age 8 in the United States, an increase from 1 in 36 children in 2020. USA Today helping us out with the reporting there. This is perhaps, I mean, there were some pretty bad things at the memorial service, yes, but this right here and the reporting around it is devastating.
Yeah.
Families with children who have been diagnosed with autism are understandably, in many cases, desperate and willing to hold on to just anything. And I know people personally who have exploited that, gotten a lot of money saying there's a cure, this is the cause, all you have to do is this. It's a grift. And it's trading on their emotions, enormous love, and desperation on behalf of their children. This is pretty sick. And I think the makers of Tylenol will be silenced or they'll face probably a rebuke. That's my prediction. There's no reporting on that. But what say you?
Yeah. And, first of all, I had heard about, I know that there's like trace amounts of cyanide in apple seeds, but I had not heard about arsenic in apple juice. So that one was new for me. But yeah, all of this, it's so grifty. It is desperate. And of course, it blames women for autism because why wouldn't it? And the fact that he's talking about this at all at a memorial service for someone who he once called a friend, it's wildly inappropriate. It's very strange. And it just goes to show that anytime Donald Trump is talking, he has to make it about himself. He has to make it something beneficial for him, right? He has to make the most of it. Otherwise, why is he even showing up if it's not worth his time to do so? And, this whole thing with like blaming it on Tylenol, it's all based on very, very, very suspect research, a very, very, very suspect medical backer and things like that. And, it used to be a thing, by the way, in the scientific community that even, in journalism, right? It had to be worth more before you present anything to the public, especially as fact, there have to be multiple sources saying something, right? You learn this in grade school, right? Whenever you're writing a paper, if you say something, you have to be able to back it up with at least two or three sources, right? This is like composition 101 or even before that, right? And then in the scientific community, you have to be able to replicate results of a test before you can say this is probably a thing. And then let's continue to test it further. Let's continue to look into it. And then now you have these doctors who are probably getting paid like so much money. I have no idea to back these things up and to put something forth on behalf of the government. And, we have people like RFK Jr., who's leading up, Health and Human Services. You have people like Dr. Oz who are in our government or who are, loud voices on the right wing, let's say. And these are people who have made careers off of grifting people, right? We have known Dr. Oz for a long time. We have known that he's been grifty for a very, very, very long time, way before he ever became any sort of a political figure. So I don't know why anything that these people have to say matters to literally anyone. But then on top of that, we have Donald Trump as our president. And he is literally a con man, right? Like he has conned people out of money. He has denied people money. He has grifted every single opportunity he has ever had a chance to, including the memorial service of his so-called friend. So I don't know why people are still falling for it. At this point, I want to be like, if you're still falling for it, that is your fault. But the rest of us have to live in a country with these people. So that's not fun for the rest of us.
I'm reminded of something that Jenk said probably more than once when I've been on with him that, well, Sharon, you can't expect everyone to be, these political and news junkies. They're going about their lives. Last time they probably saw Dr. Oz was on a program that a lot of people liked in the beginning. Oprah was the co-signer, remember? So that made you trust him. And they may still think, oh, yeah, that guy, and not realize the rest. And at least back when the apple juice and arsenic issue, the controversy was raised, Dr. Oz was trading on science, although the FDA found that his testing limits were way higher than anything they had seen in their replicated testing. But never mind that at least was based on and something. And it led to more guidelines, regulations, we'll say. But this, like you said, you're talking about science. They're talking about pivoting, culture wars, giving people perhaps false hope, and if not false hope, overwhelming hope where there may only be a pea-sized amount. And listen, a little bit is good, and we've got to figure this out. 1 in 33 from 1 in 36 before, children diagnosed by the age of 8 with autism. That is, what is this and what's causing it? And it needs to be studied. I mean, nobody would deny that, but the rest at Charlie Kirk's memorial service, it's just bonkers.
Yeah. And one last thing, Sharon, it does need to be studied. We do need to look into why we're having so many more cases of autism than what we had before. Also, it is a spectrum. So, all of that needs to be taken into consideration. But whenever you have somebody like RFK Jr. and the president of the United States coming out and saying, oh, it's probably Tylenol, all these women are just like popping Tylenol all day long. It stifles a lot of that research that could be happening, right? It says, oh, we don't need to study anymore because RFK Jr. said that it's Tylenol. And so I think that is a significant, much bigger danger to all of this. Yes. All of this rhetoric, it's not just about blaming women or blaming Tylenol. It's about stifling the actual knowledge, the actual truth of what is happening. And it's, going to be detrimental for generations of children in the future.
You're absolutely right. The autism community wants love and respect. It has enormous power and a big, huge voice. And now all of a sudden, out of the blue, Donald Trump has solved another one. Go figure.